Today is 958. I come here to lessons I learn. I'm learning. I hope this will support your dreams, your goals, allow you to become the person that you want to become. Yesterday, I shared that sometimes we just need to don't speak and just really shut your mouth and bite your tongue and really don't say anything and don't speak up. And today we'll speak about the moments when you need to speak up. It's very, very important that you really raise things up, that you're able, because what you do not address doesn't get improved. What you do not address doesn't get improved. So we need to really understand that a lot of things we really need to speak up. I think that it's a lot of times it's harder to speak up rather than really be quiet. For some people, it's of course it's harder to speak up. For some people, it's to really be quiet. And we need to understand, okay, where you are in this. And I think that in the past, I used to be like in one spectrum. I always wanted to speak. I always wanted to share my opinions, and I always was just putting information out there. And for me, it was harder to really be quiet. But now, like, I just really I want my peace. And sometimes I just speak up. It's a little bit harder. It depends on of course, in which area, because I have very strong values, and I will not sacrifice my values for any reason. So today I'm gonna speak about, I will share 12 things that where we're supposed to really think about. Okay, we must speak up. We really need to share, because if we do not share, we'll suffer. A lot of it will suffer. It's not just you. People around you will suffer. And I think that if people around you are suffering, that means, of course, at the end of the day, you will be suffering as well. Because relationship is the most important part of life. And if you do not speak up, the relationships doesn't improve, doesn't get better, and sometimes it can even get worse. So number one is that family dynamics. We need to understand that when there is misunderstanding, disagreement, we need to really speak up. We need to find a way how to really to deal with those misunderstandings. Because when there is one misunderstanding and is not addressed, other misunderstanding, other small conflict, other thing, third thing, fourth, fifth, sixth, fifth, seventh thing, and it is becoming so hard to understand what's going on. Because one small thing, of course, could not lead to anything. But if you do not address this, how you do one thing, that's how you do everything. And sometimes a small thing, if you don't address a small thing, that means that it might be that you will be quiet and will not speak up for the big thing. I think that a lot of times we need to understand that, okay, we need to address, this was misunderstanding. This was some kind of disagreement. Let's speak up and let's really learn how to understand each other better. Because if you will try to hide it under the blanket, of course, at some point, it will show up and it will bite to your ass even harder than before. Because sometimes when we leave small things, they grow. We leave that negativity seed in the ground and it is growing. Sometimes we just need to pluck it out immediately. Not allow that small minor plant, small minor seed of negativity grow into a tree. That is, after a while, it's hard to deal with. Number two is relationships. And I think this is very, very important in relationships. Very, very, very important to communicate openly about your needs, about your boundaries, about your concerns. Because those things really allow to really build relationship. Because until there are really boundaries, it's very hard to understand the game. That's why all the sports have boundaries. Soccer has boundaries, football has boundaries, basketball boundaries, any kind mentioned, any sport, volleyball, even any kind of sport has boundaries. And any kind of relationships need to have boundaries as well. Because how you understand the game rules. So when you have those boundaries, that safety rules, you're able to build relations and you're able to play the game of joy. Because relationships is like a game that you never stop. There's no winner. And it's just like dancing. And you just dance in that boundaries. Because we need to understand it. We need to understand the needs and boundaries. Because if you do not understand, no one is able to play by your rules. Because there's no rules whatsoever. Number three is friendships. That means that we need to really address that the things that maybe was hurtful, maybe problematic. We need to understand that some words, some actions of friends could be not useful for a friend, and we need to address that. I need to say that I don't like when you say that. I don't like when you do that. I'm really speaking up, because if you want to keep that relationship, because if you don't want to, you're just able to step back and say I'm not able to tolerate, and I walk away and I will have my peace. But if you want to keep that relationship, that means you need to work with it. Because any kind of relationship requires energy. And that energy sometimes is allocated on speaking up. on fixing what is not working. A lot of times it'll be actions or words that other person is doing or saying that is really doesn't help you. So moving to number 4, peer pressure. And that means again that a lot of times peer pressure, your friends and peers might be that in some area of your life, maybe they think a little bit differently. And they will push you in one way. Maybe like you have like 5 friends and they already bought a house, everyone, but you don't have a house. They have a beautiful car, but you don't have a car. You're investing in investments and they investing in a house, but you investing in the courses and seminars and in the business and trying to grow yourself. And he said like, oh, like you look, we already have houses, but you don't have. Maybe it's already time for you to settle down and really start thinking about family, thinking about the really making investments into your house, into your car. That's again, this could be a peer pressure. But we need to understand that where is your values? What is your aspiration? What is your goals? Because a lot of times your goal will not be to buy a house by 30. Maybe you want to buy a bigger house. Maybe you have total different aspirations. Maybe you want to not live in a house, but in an apartment in a higher. So like, it's up to you. But you need to understand what is your values. What is your values right now? What is your aspirations right now? Because it might be that you want to buy a house. Maybe not now, maybe in 5 years. So now, next 5 years, you want to invest in yourself, in growing yourself, improving yourself, becoming the best version of you. And peer pressure will say that, oh, by this age, by your age, you're already supposed to have a house or something else, or education, or job, or anything. So it means that peer pressure allows really understand that are you willing to speak up? Because you need to speak up a lot of times for yourself. And say that this is your journey, and this is your vision, but my vision is different. You will need to understand if you really want to be my friend, that I will not do what you do. Like I connect with you because we have different visions and other aspects. We have a lot of things in common, and I really love you. But at the same time, for this particular thing, this is how I choose my life, and don't allow your peers to influence your vision. Number 5 is self-advocacy. That means that it could be in healthcare, in really medical careers, and but that means that when you go and you really to make sure that you address your needs, you really advocate for yourself, because this is a very, very important thing. A lot of times doctors do not know what is inside of you, how you feel, and how what capable of are you. Because I know that when you are not advocating for yourself, doctors could make a lot of mistakes. I remember when after a sickness, doctors said a lot of things that I will not be able to do, but I didn't believe in them, and I overcome a lot of things, and I did a lot of things that they said that I will never be able to do. So that means I was able to self-advocate for myself, and sometimes we need to do that. Sometimes we need to advocate for ourselves and speak up that this is your view, but my view is different. You never met me, you never know me, so I will show you, I will prove that is able. I'm capable of doing things that you thought I'm not able. Number 6 is financial matters. That means that we able to really financial matters address with a lot of things. That could be with partners and with friends, with family members. How we address finances, where the finances are coming from in place, because those conversations must happen a lot of times. Because some person could feel inadequate in a lot of situations if we do not address finances. And we need to make sure that we're discussing financial concerns in a lot of different areas. Number 7 is work-life balance. And this again, when you are employee, this is especially important because employers want to really use you in the most possible way to make most money. And sometimes they will really want to, maybe you want to work on Saturdays, maybe overtime, and you even maybe don't pay for the overtime. And that means that we will need to speak up that this is not how it works. This is not how it should work, because you're able to be so valuable that you're able to go to any other company or start your own business. So you're able to speak up and really say that I love my life, I love my wife, I love my family, I love my kids, I love my health, and I want to have a healthy work-life balance, and I'm not sacrificing all those things just for you to achieve your goals. It's very, very important to achieve your goals first rather than employers' goals, And I truly believe that every single person is supposed to be a business owner in some way or another, something to do for themselves. Now, of course, maybe it's not everyone is wanting to do that. I truly believe everyone is capable of doing that. But again, if you are an employee, you need to really discuss. And in the business owners, again, you need to really understand that you need to speak up and find people who could really help you. So that means that sometimes as a business owner, you need to understand that you will need to find support who could really help you take out of your workload that you could really achieve great things as well. Number 8 is personal development. So it means that you need to speak up and really share with people, voicing your goals, aspirations, ambitions. Because a lot of times people are not able to help you because they don't know what you are going after. When you share your aspirations, when you share what you're after, when you share your goals, people will encourage you, people will give you resources, people will bring people to you. Of course, we need to share our ideas, our aspirations with people who are inspired as well. Because a lot of times the biggest thing that could really hurt us is share our big aspirations for people who have small minds. They're amazing people potentially, but they have small minds regarding the vision. So we really need to be very careful with whom we speaking up, but at the same time, we need to speak up that we are working towards something. Number 9 is boundaries. I didn't mention that, but it's probably one of the very, very important things. We need to really address boundaries in everything what we do, in business, in relationships, in any kind of relationships, in mentorship, business, relationships, friendships, everywhere have supposed to have boundaries. How we communicate, where we communicate, and in what way we communicate. And when you're able to really speak up and address that, it's relationships will be always better when you have boundaries. Because a lot of times when you have those boundaries, you know exactly how to communicate to make sure that you are in the game. Number 10 is mental health. That means that we always need to really make sure that we seeking for help a lot of times. Because one of the biggest things that people are struggling is that when they're going through stuff, they are shutting down and they keep everything for themselves. It's very, very hard to overcome things when you're on your own. And being able to speak up when you're not okay, when you need some support, when you need extra tap to your back, is very important. Because when you ask for help, you're able to overcome all the things that you're going through much, much faster. So you're able to go through that winter season, not maybe in 3 months, but even in a month. So it could be like a short winter season when you're able to really speak up and ask for help. Number 11 is conflict resolution. This is a very important moment when you really need to learn how to speak up. Because conflicts, again, that could really be addressed very, very fast and dealt with, or it could be left behind, and those conflicts could potentially become massive conflicts. And sometimes it's not fixable anymore after a while. So it's better, because I love to say that we need to do hard things when it's easy. We need to do the hard things when it's easy. Now, of course, it's not easy to do that at the same time, but it's easier to address the conflict right now rather than waiting after a month or 2 or 3 months. Because after 3 months, when someone is doing something and you bring that up what happened 3 months ago, it will be very, very hard to really to address properly the same topic, the same conflict. So addressing right away and speaking up will always go a long way. And the last one that I want to mention is education and learning. This is one of the most important parts as well, where we need to learn how to speak up. That means what we need to do. If you are in a conference, in a class, you're learning what you need to do. What is the most important part to do in the class? What's the most important part? Of course, raise a hand. Sometimes it's the hardest thing to do, because your hand becomes very, very heavy and it's almost impossible to lift it, because you think that it will be a stupid question. I did that 100 times. Not one, not two, not three, hundreds times. And I needed to learn how to overcome that fear, to really wanting to improve so much that you're not afraid to humiliate yourself with the question that you ask. And I think that's very, very powerful, because you're seeking clarification, you're seeking understanding, you're seeking expand your mind and really learn and really be much more wise. So when you lift your hand, ask for a question, and speak up, that allows you to really become the best version of you. So I hope that you will really reflect on how often do you speak up, at what reasons do you speak up, because it might be that you speak up for one reason very well, but for some other areas that you still hesitant. So maybe I hope that you will reflect as well on those areas that we mentioned today, and really start really looking into how I could speak up. And the first one I really said that probably easy to really start improving is asking questions. Really ask questions, no matter what. Always asking questions. How I could improve. Because when you start improving, even a lot of times when you're not able to speak up, but you're asking for help to teach you how to speak up, how to stand for yourself, could be one of the best ways to really prove that. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.